in today's world.
You're right. Oh, yeah, people say, be positive, see the bright side. The only positive side is being honest about what we face, as Patrick Henry said, and making preparation for it. I mean, there are so many examples of people thinking you can just be delusional and make it all okay.
Well, returning to the basic concept of safe places, let me just give a general overview of the United States in general and why I rate some areas higher than others.
Let's do that. Let me remind them, the book is available at INFOWARS.com right now, Strategic Relocation, North American Guide to Safe Places, 3rd edition, and also gets a free citizen rule book when they order it. Again, folks, I have made preparations myself. This is real. The threats run from bad to worse. You need to get prepared. Ants get prepared for the winter. We've been taught that we shouldn't get prepared. That is anti-common sense, anti our heritage. We all need to get prepared and hope that this isn't coming. But unfortunately, we know it is. Joel, go ahead.
As I said, unlike Jim Rawls, who I really respect, he's got a great blog on Survival Blog, but you know, I just don't believe it's realistic to have all the people try to retreat to 5 states in the United States. I think realistically we have to provide information for people how to retreat in the best situations they can do. So I provide, even in Hawaii, which I give a 0, I provide potential retreat advice. I divide the country into regions according to retreating ability and to try to explain the problems that are endemic to the region. There's the Northeast, and there's the Southeast, there's South Central, there's North Central, there's Southwest and Northwest, and there's the Intermountain West. The Intermountain West has my highest rating overall. That doesn't mean that everybody has to move or has into the Intermountain West, but if you look at being centered around Salt Lake City, now that's not a safe city in and of itself, but it's 1,100 miles to San Francisco. It's 750 miles to Los Angeles. It's 850 miles to Portland and 1,000 miles to Seattle, and it's 500 or 600 miles to Denver. And in between this trackless distance is 600 or 700 miles of wasteland, of desert that simply cannot be crossed by refugees who are fleeing out of the major cities when they fall apart. That's why that area gets the highest rating, just because it has this buffer zone of natural terrain, making it very difficult for people to get there. Now, there are other places that have some of those same similar, though not as good, terrain capabilities. In the Texas region, for example, you've got West Texas out there that has huge trackless areas that cannot be crossed by foot. And you can run out of fuel easily trying to drive across Texas. And so I isolate areas in there that are far enough away from the cities that they won't be able to walk those or get to in a tank of gas. East Texas, for example, has some nice retreat areas, but if you look, there's dozens and dozens of small towns, and it isn't as strategically resistant to refugees flowing from one of those small towns to another. It's very instructive to understand that in World War II, if you look at what happened to the farms after Russia started to invade Germany and everyone in the cities started to take to the streets, take to the roads, they fanned out on either side and probably got as much as 10 to 15 miles either side of the roads and stripped all those farms clean. So you've got to be careful in rural areas if you're close to any of those major refugee retreat routes, that eventually those farms will get taken down. And the ones that will be safe are the ones that are far enough away that you can't walk to from the normal refugee paths. In general, I give the Northeast a fairly poor rating just because, in fact, everything on the East Coast has this high density area east of the Appalachians is approximately 300 to 400 people per square mile averaging, and the major metropolitan areas have 1,000 to 2,000 people per square mile. You empty those people out into the countryside, and you're going to have a tremendous difficulty, even growing crops in rural areas, trying to awake them getting ripe for fear of people standing around your fence just waiting to take them. And it's almost an impossible situation to kind of guard fruit when there's a mass starvation scenario. So
well, I understand that Joel, your general map is a generality when it just gives basic ratings for a state. But as you said, I mean, West Texas is so giant and there's nothing out there. But then there's the issue of the fact that it's arid. I mean, a lot of it is semi-desert. I mean, I live outside town in Central Texas. I live, 3-4 miles off a major road, but, still it's not perfect. I can't imagine living in the center of town itself. I want to keep moving around the country, but why is New Mexico such a low rating? Because there's not a lot of people there, but I'm sure you have reasons for that. Why is Louisiana 1 star? Why is Mississippi 1 star? Alabama 2, Tennessee 3.5, Kentucky 3 stars. Give us your, break it down.
Yeah. One of the reasons New Mexico is so lowly rated is there's a lot of military activity there. There's very few places where you can live in the deserts because of low water supplies. Arizona has a lot of those areas too, but there are aquifers in Arizona that you can find water. Not much in New Mexico, and those places have fairly high population centers. The Southeast, Mississippi, Alabama have low ratings because, first of all, they're in the path of Floridians, which will empty out. Florida is simply not capable of self-sustaining itself without air conditioning and without government services and supplies. There are just too many people for land that is not suitable for much agriculture.
And you've got the hurricane issue.
And you've got the hurricanes, but a lot of people are going to empty out, and that's what they're going to do, is head for all of those states. You have a lot of population in the southern states. A lot of people have moved down there, and when they start to empty out into the countryside, added to that all the Floridians, you're going to have a real problem with people, with refugees.
I want to show this on the map. Where are the elites moving? I know a lot of them to Idaho, a lot of them to Utah, but they're also at Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. What's the greatest concentration of elites and their bunkers that you've seen?
By far in Colorado. And there's a reason for that, is that Denver is the western center of the dark side of government. They have all of the secret facilities in Denver. Underneath the Denver airport are major underground bunker systems for the elite. And the elite know that, and that's why they're moving in their own personal bunkers to the ski resorts, mostly of Colorado. They have lots of money. They want to live the high life while they're in bunkers, while they have their bunkers, and that's why they're in Colorado. So I would say almost 60% of the elite have reserved places in Colorado, and that's one of the reasons I downgrade Colorado, is because Denver is the hotbed of government control.
Well, they admit that it is the shadow government headquarters with Cheyenne Mountain and all the rest of it. They admit that's the second designated alternate government, shadow government headquarters. That's on record.
That's right, but a lot of people don't understand that they control a lot of the Colorado government, especially the city government in Denver and the surrounding communities. Have a lot of, they control insurance companies, they control real estate companies, judges, school districts. When they have control, they really corrupt the entire community. And so it's a real problem.
I agree with your analysis on that, because you've focused on this issue more than I have, obviously. But in a way, isn't it good to be right up underneath the enemy? Maybe that's the spot they never look. Maybe they're not going to let stuff get too out of control there.
Well, I just feel uncomfortable myself just because of their ability to come out of their bunkers and start to dictate to local government. And we're depending in this theory of starting a revolution for liberty after a takedown, is that we believe, at least I and a lot of other thinkers like Dr. Chuck Baldwin, believe that the Lord will create a remnant and basically inspire a lot of those remnants to seek safe places further out to the west, where they can have some freedom and establish some majorities to start to knit together libertarian.
No, I agree
governments.
with you. So why build your remnant near the capital of the devil? Because the globalists have said their new capital will be, in many of their writings, will be Denver.
Yeah. And that's why I don't recommend that area at all. I encourage people to move out of that. Western Colorado is fine. The Montrose area is highly recommended. But I still like a lot of the communities, for example, where the Mormons are a majority, because they're very conservative, even though they're not politically astute. In many regards, they are preparedness oriented. And best yet, they have an alternative form of government, so that if the state government collapses, they look to their bishops and their stake presidents, and immediately they knit the government back together and have order. And they're not exclusive in their ability or willingness to help other people come.
Why are Mormons historically concerned about preparedness?
Well, in the first place, because they came from a persecuted people. It's the federal government that drove them out. State governments drove them out of one state after another, and so they went eastward. They're the only religion in the United States that actually fought a war with the U.S. government and ground them to a standstill by burning their wagon trains and their supply trains across the plains until they had a negotiated peace. So deep in the Mormon heritage is a distrust of the federal government, a dislike of the federal government. And although many of the Mormons are bending over backwards to try to accommodate government because they want them to be accepted, still the basic root philosophy of Mormonism is not one of trust of the world or trust of the government. And that's one of the reasons why they're prepared.
Very interesting, because I know I have a lot of Mormon listeners. I know a lot of people that are prepared are Mormons. I've seen that, but then I see a disconnect between average Mormon people who seem to really know what's going on, and then the leadership like Orrin Hatch, Mitt Romney, and then people are like, well, that's a Mormon attempt to then infiltrate, and try to change the government from within. But I don't think you're going to change this system.
No, I don't either, and I think there's a naive feeling that you can take back government by by compromising with the establishment, making friends with the establishment. I don't agree with that philosophy, and many Mormons don't either.
All right, continuing in the 20 minutes we've got, I appreciate all this time, Joel. I'm inviting you to town so we can do a larger presentation because this book is so well done. Again, available at INFOWARS.com. Hope everybody gets it. It's a must-read, a treasure trove of easy-to-access, well-researched documentation. But continue with other areas that are important.
One of the most important areas in the book, which people really enjoy, is where I give specific examples of every metro area in the state. In other words, when you go to the state analysis, state by state, I give specific analysis if you're living around New York City or New Jersey or Los Angeles Basin or Denver, Colorado, where to pick places to live on the periphery in suburbia that gives you the best chance of getting out of Dodge should everything start to go down. And that's very, very helpful to people to be able to have specific recommendations, because I've been at this for 40 years, Alex, of designing high security residence and retreats for people. I've consulted with people for that long on how to find safe places. So I've got a trained eye of how to see things about where relative safety is lied. I'm not an absolutist in the sense that you're either a perfectly safe place or you're lost. I believe in helping people where I can, because I think that there's going to be a remnant that's going to escape the problems of the world. They're going to escape because they've made wise decisions. They've made contingency plans. They haven't put all their eggs in one basket. And even those who can't afford it, because a lot of our people in our movement aren't people of money or wealth. They can do a lot, whether they've got an apartment, whether they team together with friends, pick a friend or a relative in another smaller town that's safer and make arrangements. I spend some time talking about how you plan to get there